we are easily brought into a state of being identified with discontented thoughts and feelings, because those discontented thoughts and feelings have a marvelous past and a promising future. But when we can see the fact of discontentment as being not a power but a pretense, and one that pulls us out of real life, then we can end the charade and bring ourselves back into the present moment and break the cycle of discontentment.
Mm-hmm. And in the present moment, there is no discontentment.
There's no problem. The present moment is a living rainbow.
Hello, I'm Dr. Ellen Dickstein, and today best-selling inner life author Guy Finley and I are going to talk about the power to dismiss discontentment.
You're dismissed.
Are you saying that I'm discontented? All right, I'll admit it. We live in a time when materially most people have more than they need in order to lead a very pleasant life, and all kinds of entertainment, always seeking more. And yet it seems that people have no appreciation for what they have, and even worse, we're downright discontented and thinking there's got to be something else, there's got to be more to life. And in spite of all the things we give ourselves, we're still discontented. So obviously, we don't understand the true source of our discontentment, and we don't know how to find satisfaction.
Well, that's very true. I can't think of a time in my 50-odd years in which I've seen so much rampant unhappiness and all of the actions that go with it. I don't think I've ever seen it. And I also think that if we look closely, that we can see it's on an accelerated scale.
Yes, and you see it in young people so much.
And very much to the point. The levels of discontentment are actually epidemic. And the evidence of the chronic state is, I forgot the statistic. It fits, we're not sure how yet, but we'll talk about it, that some extraordinary percentage of young people are on antidepressant drugs. Right. What a tragedy. And I think that it's a good subject for us to look into, because maybe someone listening, watching, will be able to take a true affirmative action in their life towards this chronic state of discontentment that has trickled its torment down through generation to generation until the children themselves, and not just the children are the reflection of their parents, of the society that they're born into. And I think, just to get it started, that we can summarize the source of discontentment in two ways. First, that discontentment, the seed of discontentment, is born in a mind that doesn't know that its sense of self is born out of comparing what it thinks it is or has to what it isn't yet or doesn't possess. That there is the root of discontentment is in a mind that only knows how to evaluate itself through comparison. That's the root of discontentment. And we can see it. How many of us every day we wake up? Did you ever wake up and look in the mirror and find yourself instantly discontent?
I would never admit to that,
but people don't treat us properly, we're discontent with them. The world, the traffic doesn't move at the proper pace, we're discontent with our place in it. I mean, we can run through the list of it, but the litany isn't the important thing. The important thing is that if we're going to change the dire effect of such a darkness in ourselves and subsequent social conditions, we have to understand the consciousness that produces it. So I think we'll start with this idea. And it's a good one. Discontentment is not a power, it's a pretender. Discontentment is not a power, it's a pretender. Now, what exactly does that mean? You investigate it with me, Ellen. It's not a power. Well, is it a power now?
Well, it feels like a power.
It does,
It feels
doesn't it?
like it drives me through my day.
Big time. You look at a person who's discontent with a relationship, with their career, with whatever it is that's going on around them, and you see someone who is almost, if not actually, compulsive, pushed. You know, I'm not in the right place, I've got to get to the right place. I don't have the right things to be happy, I've got to get the right things to be happy. And all of that process in which they look at themselves through a measurement, through this comparison, and try to enter into an estate that their imagination says holds contentment. But never seeing that every time that the individual either manifests or otherwise achieves some measure of that estate, that in the split second of entering into that house of happiness, suddenly discontentment has moved in with them. Therefore, the root of that discontentment is not just comparison, but that the sense of self that comes from that which I say causes me happiness. For instance, we've all known what it's like to get a new job or a new car or a new relationship, and up to the moment where we're getting it, it's, you know, we're dancing. You know, look at me, I'm Snoopy in the springtime. Everything's going great, and then no sooner do we acquire that relationship, that new position, that new possession, then the glitter, the glamour of it starts to fade away, and that discontentment, like the dark tide of thought that it actually is, so it moves in. And you can, it's dramatic, but my mind is showing it to me. You can actually, you're standing there, and you ever seen those movies where they tie the hero down at low tide? and she or he struggling there in the chains, and the tide's coming up, and the crabs are starting to get on them, stuff like that. Well, that's exactly what discontentment is like. Over and over and over again, these, and this is key, these thoughts and feelings that present themselves to us as being prerequisites, things we must listen to and follow in order to end the pain of this discontentment, they pass themselves off as the power to free us from these chains.
When actually they are the chains.
When actually they are the chains. That's exactly right. So when we say that discontentment is not a power, but a pretender, then what we're saying is that we have to, as individuals, recognizing, Ellen, you know, sometimes when we're talking, or I'm out talking to other men and women, and right in the middle of my own mental process, that which is occurring to me to speak, I'm able to see certain things. And when I see certain things and recognize them as being germane to an individual's ending of this cycle of discontentment, it's a fascinating moment for me as a man seeing this, because I want to be able to impart that idea. But I already know that merely imparting an idea is meaningless unless the individual to whom it's imparted takes it and recognizes as being important to their being able to drop out of, disconnect themselves from discontentment. And in this instance, the idea that I see and want to express as relative to being able to drop this discontented state, to see it not as a power but as a pretender, is that we need to be able to see the whole of our life right now. It's a profound thing.